Ho, ho, ho. Hello, children. Well, children of all ages, we're getting very close to Christmas. And unfortunately, we can't have our breakfast with Santa this year, but we can get together and talk to each other. Tonight, I'd like to read a book to you that's one of my favorites. So if you'll join with me, follow along as I go, we'll enjoy this book. One cold day in December, a fox was walking in the forest. As he looked at the snowy trees, he remembered that it would soon be Christmas. Then he heard something. He sniffed the air and looked around. There, fast asleep against a tree, was Santa Claus. He was snoring. Oh my goodness, thought the fox. Santa Claus has come early this year. I'd better go and tell everyone he's here. So he hurried off to tell all the other animals that lived in the forest. When they heard the news, the animals hopped and ran and scampered and flew to the tree. A squirrel chattered excitedly, and Santa Claus slowly stretched and yawned, and then opened his eyes to see the faces of dozens of little creatures. "Why are you here?" he asked him. "Is Christmas going to be early this year?" asked the fox. "I'm sorry if I've worried you, my friend," said Santa. "I went for a long hike this morning to get in shape for Christmas Eve, but I guess I walked until I got too tired. Maybe all those heavy presents will be too much for me to deliver this year." The animals looked alarmed. "Does that mean there won't be a Christmas anymore?" asked the fox. "No, no, no," said Santa in a kindly voice. "Christmas doesn't have anything to do with me. Sit down and I'll tell you all the story of the very first Christmas." Pardon me while I turn this page. My old hands aren't as good as they used to be. It happened long, long ago in a faraway place called Bethlehem. Some shepherds were watching over their sheep in the fields outside the town. It was very quiet and still. Suddenly, a beautiful, bright star appeared in the sky. The shepherds heard a voice saying, "Do not be afraid. I have good news for all of you. Today, in the town of Bethlehem, the Christ child has been born. God has sent his Son to show what God's love is like. Follow the star to his stable." The shepherds followed the star over hills and through valleys, across bridges and past little villages. All the while, the star shone brighter and brighter, until at last it stopped before a small stable. The shepherds and their sheep stopped too, for there in the stable was a baby, lying in a manger. The shepherds knew that this was the Son of God, and they knelt down and prayed. And that is what happened in Bethlehem when the Christ child came. It's my favorite story because it reminds me why we are so happy at this time of year. Love was the gift God gave to us on the first Christmas, and it still is, you know. And this love is far better than any presents I could ever deliver. Santa Claus put his hands in his pockets and looked slowly around the circle of animals with a kind and happy voice upon his face. "How silly we have been," said the fox, "to think that Christmas was only about presents." "So now you know," said Santa. "But come on, you're right that it's almost Christmas. Let's go back to my place and get things ready." All the animals followed as Santa Claus ran off towards his house. He didn't even look tired anymore because he had remembered how much fun his work was going to be. The animals stayed at Santa's house until Christmas Day and helped him every way they could. Of course, the reindeer helped by going out with him to deliver the presents the night before. After a fine Christmas dinner, Santa gave every animal a present, and they sat around the fireplace later in the day. They all asked to hear Santa's favorite story again. It was a very special Christmas day for everyone. The end. I hope you enjoyed that story, because it's a story that belongs to all of us. This is a pretty hard time that we're living through right now, not one that we really expected. But I hope all of you children, old and young, are enjoying each other's presence and the love that we all share. And I would just like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas from the Cary United Methodist Church. Good night, and I hope I don't see you Christmas Eve. You make sure you get to bed. Good night.